Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is good to see you here. It is time for the morning grind once again. Welcome to the office. I've been working this morning. Been off to a slow start, but did work on some more script writing this morning. And now we're here. We're going to be taking a look at Shadowdark again. This is our third episode on Shadowdark, and specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the Quick Start GM's Guide. So we're going to get that underway in just a moment. Let's see. Mike, good to see you. Mike says, work has kept me from the live streams, but working this evening today, so here I am. Well, welcome. Good to see you, Mike. Mike is one of our channel members. Thank you so much, Mike. And it's already Friday again. I feel like time is just flowing by. I am bleeding time. Here we are, Friday morning. There's still so many projects I'm working on. So many projects going. Too many projects. Too many. Time is going by. Joseph Carter, also a channel member. Good morning, Shadow Dorks. Okay, that's about all the energy I've had until I grabbed some caffeine. I've got my caffeine here as well. Good morning, Zero the Blade. Also a channel member. Good morning. VZ Wiki. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you here on the morning grind. Draco is here. And also Sable Phoenix. The gang's all here. Not seeing Stray here. Yes, Draco says not seeing Stray here gets me worried, to be honest. I still have not heard back from Stray. People were asking about Stray the other day, and I did try to reach out to him, but I have not heard anything either. So I have not heard back. So I don't know. It makes me worried too. I hope he's all right. Hey, Brent. Good morning. And Zero Theory. Andrew is here. So good morning, everybody. Let's go to the morning messages real quick, and then let's dive into Shadowdark, because we've had some fantastic conversations. If you have if you're just here and you haven't seen episodes 1 and 2, well, you don't know. That's those aren't necessary before you start watching this one. But if you do like the conversations, we've had some fantastic conversations on the first parts where we were looking at the quick start guide. So I'm thinking that today will be just as good of a discussion. All right, so here we go. The Morning Grind is brought to you by World Anvil. For all the writers out there, World Anvil has all the tools to help you write, organize, present, and publish rich settings with complex characters. Write, world build, and manage your story all in a single platform. Use the code MORNINGGRIND to get 40% off yearly subscriptions. The Morning Grind is also brought to you by the Cool Name RPG. Anyone will be able to use the system for any project they can imagine, and they can do so irrevocably, perpetually, and without paying a dime to anyone, ever. Support its development now on Kickstarter. And thank you for being here with me live on The Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying The Morning Grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. All right, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. All right, so let's pull up Shadowdark here. So this right here is the Shadowdark Quick Start Game Master's Guide. So let's take a look at this and see what is going on, because this is one of the big things going on in gaming right now. I think there are a few days left on the Kickstarter, on the Shadowdark Kickstarter, and it did cross over $1 million. So lots of people are very excited about this. So that's one of the things that we've been talking about, is what is it that's making this one resonate so much with the gaming community as well. A good thing to find out. Random character generator. Okay, so this started off, I suppose, with like the interior pages we found out, and then we get into the rule book. So we first have a random encounter. Oh, random encounter, not random character. Random encounter. No, random encounters. But it says characters over here. Okay, so roll 1d6. 1 equals a random encounter. In unsafe areas, check every 3 rounds. Risky, check every 2 rounds. And deadly, check every round. So this is, I forget. Oh, we talked about how many rounds were to an hour last time, and I forget. Okay, distance: close, near, and far starting distances for the encounter. Activity: hunting, eating. 2d6: hunting, eating, building, nesting, socializing, guarding, sleeping. Reactions: this is, I guess, a modifier for the characters that you're encountering, just in general, and then languages that they speak or something like that. It seems like random encounters is definitely something that we should have in here, although should be included. Although I'm sometimes skeptical of random encounters. 10 rounds to an hour. 10 rounds to an hour. So check every hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. Thank you, Daniel. Okay, so, and Sable Phoenix backed it. I backed the tier with all the physical stuff. The production quality and everything is fantastic. It'll look great on my shelves with my other game books. I backed it as well. I did finally back it, so it will appear back here on my gaming shelves as well. We were told there were tons of random encounters in the main book, right? Sable Phoenix says there are tables and tables of random encounters by biome in the main book. Okay, XP for treasure quality. Now, one thing that we didn't find out last time was how to actually assign XP. We found out how to level up, and that we were leveling up like for 10. It takes 10 XP to get from level 1 to level 2. But we didn't learn how to assign XP, so I assume that's going to be here in this book. So XP for treasure quality. Poor, normal, fabulous, legendary. So that's how many maybe XP you get Are we going by treasure for XP, bag of silver, used dagger, knuckle bone dice, bag of gold, gem, fine armor, magic scroll? NPC names by ancestry. I wonder if that's the same as the name generator in the other book. I was also wondering about what its legal status was. So I do have that information down here. Legal information and attribution statement, not for resale or distribution. Permission granted to print or copy for personal use Shadowdark RPG by the Arcane Library, LLC. This work includes material taken from the system reference document, SRD 5.1 by Wizards of the Coast, available there, and then it's licensed under the Creative Commons license, but it doesn't seem like this material, that Shadowdark, is any kind of open gaming material. Zero Theory, sometimes when it comes to random encounter tables, I just pick what I like best for the situation. Yeah, or, I mean, it's always like, what is the purpose of the random encounter? Now, it could be that it has more purpose here, because to me, the purpose of the random encounter is to absorb some resources. Like, if you have to go through a random encounter, it's going to make things harder, because, well, first of all, I suppose in a game like this, you could die. But then also you're going to be expending resources that you're not going to have trying to do the real thing. So in games where you don't really have to do resource management, like sometimes in 5th edition, or oftentimes in 5th edition, having a random encounter is just sinking time at the table. But it should have a purpose, and that purpose, the characters shouldn't want to have to go through random encounters. Hey, Vision. Good morning, Vision. Its purpose should be taking away resources that you're losing resources because of these random encounters that you wouldn't have to otherwise. Okay, so what is inside the Game Master's book? Introduction, running the game, core ethos, awarding XP, okay, random encounters, traps, hazards, something happens, rumors, ruins, encounters, monsters. So we got monster attributes, monster statistics, treasure, overview, treasure 0 to 3. Magic item attributes, magic items, Lost Citadel of the Scarlet Minotaur. I guess we also have a adventure in here. I guess we'll just go through it in order. We jumped around when we were in the player's guide by looking at how to play first, but I think just going through the quick start GM's guide in order probably makes the most sense. Joseph says that Kelsey has a fairly open license on her website for third-party publishers. Use monsters, etc. as you need to. Reword any rule mechanics for your own writing. Don't copy her prose verbatim. Okay, well, we can probably take a look at that later. Basically, her equivalent of an open gaming content are the things you'd need to make third-party modules and ancestries and races. All right. Game Mastering. Welcome, Game Master, and congratulations. You are the chosen one. You join a long and honored history of monumental gamers who have shaped countless imaginations. Their legacy is now yours. As the Game Master, it's your job to lead the table in all things. That means you set the bar, the way you speak, the energy you bring to the game, and your speed. And the speed you set carries over to everyone else around you. There will be times when you must guide a shy player, when you must firmly call focus during off-topic chatter, and you must declare in a hushed whisper that all fate hangs on a single roll of a die. Do not shrink from your task. Even when all light is extinguished, all hit points are gone. It is you who carries the torch. The core rules for the Shadowdark RPG are found in the Player Quick Start Guide. You should refer to it for the main game rules alongside the players. However, the material in this book, the Game Master's Guide, is for your eyes only. The dire nature of monsters, the mysteries of magical treasure, and the fascinating secrets of adventuring sites are all things the characters should discover through gameplay. There was never any fun had in knowing all the surprises before they happen. What to do. Describe what the characters newly perceive, and then let the players respond to that with actions. Call for the skill checks when those actions require skill. Then start again from the top. Okay. So the Game Master is the world spinner, the all-wise, the ventriloquist. You are the deadly pit trap and the assassin in the night. You are the storm, the army, the gods. You hold ultimate power. Yet you only want one thing, to see your players triumph. So you craft malevolent villains worth defeating. You sculpt marvelous treasures worth stealing. You fill the world with rot, darkness, and death so it can be driven back by sword, spell, and flame. Through this, you offer an invitation. You propose it loudly with roaring dragons, humbly with helpless villagers, secretly with hidden treasure maps. You call the players to adventure, and they answer. The only rule is that you make the rules. What's written in this book is a guide, not a constraint, and none of it takes precedence over your judgment. If something doesn't work at your table, change it or throw it out and don't look back. The pact. You and your players are gaming together to have fun, prop each other up, and strengthen bonds. This is the pact. The pact is often unspoken and unseen, but it's always felt. It's based on goodwill, respect, and fellowship. Its enemies are selfishness, antagonism, and arrogance. Decisions are made to defend the pact are always good ones. I noticed that it said that. Joseph Carter says, carrying the torch. I almost said something about that. Carrying the torch is important in Shadowdark. It gets scary when the torches go out. Yes, and I wonder if that was an intentional reference to that. You can't help but think about it, especially after having been through the player's handbook where the torches are so important. You know, I have a theory about like what type of... I like resource management in games, and I kind of have a theory, though, that like how many different resources can players really be expected to manage during any particular game? The resources they have to manage should be telling you what is important. And I'm kind of thinking like three. Three things. You know, one of them being your hit points. You know, you manage your hit points. If you lose them all, then you're dead. So in this game, it's also giving you torches. Now, what you're trying to manage during the game can change based on what phase of the game you're in. If you're adventuring, well, excuse me, if you're adventuring, but if you're going through the wilderness, you may need to track other resources than when you're in the dungeon. Hit points are one. Now, one thing that this, when you're talking about tracking resources, though, I was thinking about spells, because if you're a spellcaster, then tracking some type of mana or something like that casts your spells is a resource you have to manage. But this game actually takes resource management of the spells away, which could be good because it would allow your mind to be on something else, because you can cast, it's pressure luck. Somebody talked about it. It's pressure luck with the magic casting. So that's not something that you're really having to manage, because this game is going to tell you when your spells are over. Good morning, Jason. Oh, yes, you're right. We should sip before we get much further into darkness. Thank you so much for reminding me, Joseph. We haven't all had our breath and sip this morning yet. So if you are here, you got your favorite drink with you, got your beverage. I've got mine. So what we do, we think about breath, 2 deep breaths, complete exhales, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. You'll feel better, and I'll feel better as I'm reading through this. All right, let's breathe and sip. Yeah, I'm glad Joseph reminded us, because that would have been sad. Draco says, been caving many years, and when the lights go out, the term dark is very mild. It doesn't even come close to describing the feeling of that moment, in my opinion. Which is something that a lot of these games where everybody has dark vision, you don't have to worry about the darkness, is sorely lacking. Sable Phoenix says, I love how Veins of the Earth treats resources. The main resource is light itself. Light is wealth in the deep places of the world, not gold. A glim is enough fuel for 1 hour of light. I have not heard of Veins of the Earth. Maybe it's one that we should look at. Light also determines initiative. The side with the light always goes first. I kind of wish the name like Shadowdark that they've gone with a similar direction. So setting DCs, the 4 standard DCs of easy, 9, normal, 12, hard, 15, and extreme are universal and help you quickly decide a DC. And this is one thing that changes. You know, a lot of these, you know, we look at a lot of games that just are sort of variations of one another in one way or another. But this is an important variation here. Easy, normal, and hard and extreme, universal, and help you quickly decide a DC. But notice that even extreme, as we talked about last time, it's not above 20. We're rolling a 20-sided die, and we are adding not very many different things to it. And we looked at talents, because sometimes we'll be adding a talent to it. and sometimes a skill from our background. Sometimes our background will be giving us advantage in certain situations. But ordinarily, we're just going to be adding one of the attribute modifiers, which is at most 4 if you have an 18, but most people aren't going to have that. So it's going to be something like a 1, 2, or 3, or it could be negative. I mean, we could have negative scores here, negative bonuses. But even the extreme allows you to roll for it, which is important here. I think that's really going to change the shape and probably changes, or is probably very instrumental in the feel of this game. That would be my guess. When determining the difficulty of a task, take the creature into account. Finding a trail in a sunny field would be an easy task for a forest elf with tracking skills, but it would be a hard task for a sun-dazzled cave troll. So in this, it's also telling you that the difficulties here are relative. Sneeze coming. Excuse me. So this is telling you that the difficulties are relative to the creature trying to undertake them. So that's important. Elsewhere, I have been an advocate of saying that the difficulty of the task shouldn't change. That the difficulty of the task in the world is what the difficulty of the task is. And then attributes of your character will make it easier or harder. But this is rolling this all up into one. This is a different philosophy on that. So whether or not it is easy, normal, or hard is dependent upon you. When you ask players to make a check, state what kind of check it is. For example, an easy charisma check or a DC 15 dexterity check. That way the players know what they need to roll to succeed. And this also comes up. We were having a discussion in the Ravenkeep Discord server. In fact, I should put out the Discord server link. We were having a conversation on exactly that subject on the Discord server, because Ravenkeep Discord server. Because we were talking about the expenditures of some kind of meta currency to re-roll something or give you a bonus to something. We were talking about how to use that in terms of game design. I think it was in the game design channel. And it depends on whether or not something like whatever meta currency you're using, like fate points in Fate, is the character supposed to know about those? Are those in universe? Are those in game? Or are you supposed to be using them in a meta play style as the player? So here, though, and we talked about whether or not that you need to know whether or not that's the case. It's in universe or meta game. And that should tell you, or that will help you decide whether or not you should use your resources based on whether or not you actually know the DC of the check. And we do have luck points in here. Don't luck points get you a reroll? I believe the luck points get you a reroll. Now, that's important because we know that if you are rolling, then you should always be able to succeed. Because what we're talking about is we don't want I didn't want there to be a situation where you roll, the game master tells you, okay, you didn't succeed, but you don't know by how much, and then you choose to use one of your valuable metagame currencies in order to get a reroll or something, but you couldn't have succeeded anyway. So at least here, you know that if you are rolling the dice, the randomness of the dice will allow you to succeed the check. And you are supposed to know the difficulty of the check. The game master isn't supposed to just say roll charisma or roll dexterity. The game master is supposed to declare to the players that this is an easy check or it's a DC 15 check or whatever. So they're supposed to know that difficulty before they roll the dice. So that's also important as far as the play style and probably the feel of the game goes. Let's see. We do. Yep. Someone had to. Was Stray not here? Yep, we missed Stray. Veins of the Earth is an OSR supplement designed for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Oh, well, that comes up again. Lamentations of the Flame Princess comes up again. I don't know if I have that on where's my list of topics over here? Man, I've got tons of topics. Lamentations needs to go on it, though. There's a lot to go through. I did get the Book of Exalted Deeds. The Book of Exalted Deeds came in yesterday, and also the Guide to Hell. So those are also 2 to go through. We had, if you also, if you're new here and you haven't checked out, we had a conversation on the Book of Vile Darkness. We did an extended section of episodes, extended number of episodes on the Book of Vile Darkness, and that also resulted in absolutely fantastic conversations. Joseph says, I am reminded I commented before I saw the character sheet with stats above 18. Kelsey said she didn't intend greater than 18 to be possible in levels 1 to 10. If you have an option to add a stat that's 18, add to a stat that's 18, she recommends you tell players to choose something else instead of their choice. Actually. Okay, I hadn't thought about that, but that's good to know. So it seemed like definitely when you were generating a character that 18 was your top stat, but that also if you cap out at 18. That's important to know too, because there were ways with talents, like when you were rolling for talents, to add stuff to a stat. So that is good to know that you cap out at 18. And if you're capped, then you go to something else. I am one to say it's on the player side, talking about the some kind of meta currency. Joseph says, letting players know what they need to hit on a roll makes excitement over the roll result not being subverted when the GM says that's not high enough. Yeah, that's true. It's true. I agree with that. Unless it's a true situation, it needs to be secret. Trust the players to be good players. Or is that a place where the game master should be rolling anyway? We'll see. I will see if it says anything about game master rolls. So challenge variety. The character should face a multitude of challenges during an adventure, including combat, dealing with NPCs, and overcoming the environment. Each class excels at different tasks. Thieves love to scout and talk to NPCs. Fighters and clerics shine in combat, and wizards dominate the environment. Character skill versus player skill. Characters aren't the only ones who level up. Players also gain experience. For instance, players will learn where to look for secret doors and what the tells are. They're going on more adventures. They become better at gameplay. Encourage this by giving players the opportunity to make decisions that rely on creativity and wits, not on their dice rolls and stat bonuses. Rules versus rulings. If there were a rule for every situation, we would be living inside the rule book instead of the game world. Sneeze coming again. As the GM, you have an infinite power with only a handful of rules. Stat checks and standard DCs can resolve any action. You need nothing more. Rather than just pour through a book, adjudicate using what you already know. Make a ruling. Roll the dice and keep going. So the principles of Shadowdark RPG's core principles and foundations. 1. Time. The most important resource. It must haunt the character's every decision. They don't have time to search every floor tile for a trap. And I am hugely in favor of that. Time you have to use as a resource. Talking about what resources to manage in a game, time almost always needs to be one of them. So when you're thinking about the number of resources to manage, and I think there's probably some optimal number. Maybe 3 is too few, but time I think needs to be one. And your hit points are one. Now maybe hit points are so easy to keep track of that you don't have to worry about other things. That you don't have to expend a whole lot of energy keeping track of it. But time is one. Your hit points are one. I like that rations are one. Because they allow you to travel, and then also in this game, which I also like, and that might have been the case in Knave as well, that you have to eat in order to regain hit points for a day. So they're valuable for that reason as well. Darkness. Respect the darkness. It's the true foe. Few things can hold it at bay, and nothing must make these prized tools obsolete. Gear. Gear is precious and limited. Give value and utility to all of it. Action economy. PCs get just one action per turn. Make it count. Use multitasking for boring small stuff. Information. Dispense information freely. If the characters test the floor where there's a trap, they find it. Distance. Close, near, and far distances are loose and don't require precise measurement. Nobody wants to miss firing an arrow into a dragon's eye because of a mere 5-foot deficit. Danger. Casting spells comes with great risk. Magic items are volatile. Fights are fast and unfair. Monsters are insidious. Rewarding investment. Honor what has been earned. If a character learns a new language, make it matter. Allow new titles and our iconic deeds to have an impact on the characters' lives. checks. The characters automatically succeed at what they are trained to do. Only use checks when there is time pressure and failure has dire consequences. Sable Phoenix says, I like the way that Brennan Lee Mulligan does it with the Box O' Doom. On appropriately dramatic rolls, he'll tell the players what the DC is they need to roll and the results ahead of time. Sable Phoenix, it makes for some really intense rolls. I have a coffin-shaped dice tray I use the same way. Joseph says, encounters, including the undead or monsters, are not always hostile. In the first live play I saw, run by Kelsey, NPCs briefed some undead with music. Befriended some undead with music, and they fought for the players. Andrew says, it's been a long time since I GM'd, or refereed, but no matter the system, we always ended up with house rules. Do most of y'all do house rules or play strictly according to the book? I bet that there's lots of house ruling going on here in this crew. James Bacon says, good morning. Good morning, James. So awarding XP. So we were wondering how we gain XP in this game. Characters gain XP from the valuable treasures and boons they earn during an adventure. XP awards don't need to reflect monetary value. Boons or fabled items have intangible worth. Treasure has 4 categories: poor, 0 XP; mundane, low value; ordinary, unexciting; normal is 1 XP; good value, worth protecting, useful; fabulous is 3 XP; incredible, prized, well guarded; legendary is 10 XP; mythic, unique, quest-worthy. Each PC gets the full XP value of each treasure. So that's not something divided. So when you find treasure, so the characters gain XP from the valuable treasures and boons they earn during an adventure. So that's 2 different ways. XP awards don't need to reflect monetary value. Boons or fabled items have an intangible worth. So those are the 2 ways to get it. So when you discover treasure, everybody gets the full XP value of the treasure. 0, 1, 3, or 10. When PCs gain a new level, their XP resets to 0. We talked about that. Sources of XP: gold and gems, oaths, secrets and blessings, magic items, meaningful trophies, tokens, clever thinking. Award 1 XP for ingenious actions. So sources of XP: gold and gems, oaths, is that making an oath or fulfilling an oath? Secrets and blessings. Magic items, are we going to get a table or something that tells us if we find a certain type of magic item, we get certain XP? Meaningful trophies and tokens, clever thinking. How much gold? Over time, PCs will earn and lose gold through adventuring, carousing, and buying gear. Per encounter, each group should gain about 10 XP times their average party level in value. Per encounter, okay, each group should gain about 10 XP times their average party level in value, or 20 gold GP in value at levels 1 to 3, 50 GP in value at levels 4 to 6, 80 GP in value at levels 7 to 9. So XP for treasure quality. So examples here: poor. I think we saw this table. So yeah, poor treasure gets you nothing. Bag of silver, used dagger, knucklebone dice. Normal, bag of gold, gem, fine armor, magic scroll. Fabulous, magic sword, giant diamond, mithril chainmail. Legendary 10, the staff of Ord, a genie's wish, the dragon's hoard. Everybody's talking about the house rules over here. Now, see, Sable Phoenix says, of course, from what I understand, Pathfinder 2 is the opposite. The math is so tight and encounter design is so engineered that I think house ruling is a rarity. Yeah, I think we're on I don't know. We might have encountered some basic encounter design rules in here. Well, we got random encounters here. The purpose. Okay, here's the purpose. Random encounters are the way to keep time pressure up. Okay, so this is at least telling me they have a purpose. So I like this. If the characters linger too long, they'll run the risk of more encounters, which should start bleeding away resources. The GM checks for random encounters during crawling rounds, not combat, based on the environment's danger level. Unsafe, risky, or deadly. To check for random encounters, the GM rolls a 1d6. An encounter occurs on the result of a 1. The GM might also make checks for an encounter if the characters make a loud disturbance. For overland travel, check for random encounters based on hours in place of rounds. So this is when you're crawling around in a dungeon or something like that at a site. So over here, though, well, that's still a lot of checks. For overland travel, unsafe. Well, I suppose if it's safe, you're not checking. So you've got unsafe ground, risky ground, and deadly ground. Checking for an overland I mean, that could potentially, that could be a lot. Zero Theory says, I would pre-roll these if possible and dish out according to how much time passes in the game according to the rules. I would probably do something like that too. Because you could have a whole bunch of random encounters already set up. Well, Sable Phoenix was saying that there's a lot of different things by biome and things like that. So that may be encounters by biome and things like that. So you have those pre-generated, and then you're rolling for what encounter you actually have. Starting distance. If one or more wandering creatures appear, roll 1d6 for their distance from the group. Distance. Close, near, or far. What's it doing? When the characters encounter new creatures, roll to determine the creature's current activity. This might impact how likely they are to notice the characters. So that's what they were. The other side is hunting, eating, building, nesting, socializing, playing, guarding, or sleeping. The reaction check. When the characters encounter random creatures, the GM rolls for the creature's attitude. If it would not be clear. If the characters immediately interact with the creatures to influence their attitude, one of their interacting characters may add their charisma modifier to the reaction check. The interacting characters reveal their presence and position to the creatures. Some vicious creatures, such as the undead, are always hostile. So this is 2d6 plus a charisma modifier. So just because you're having a random encounter doesn't mean you're going to have a fight. This is just one of the interacting characters. So you're probably sending the person with the highest charisma up to interact with them. And we can see what that is. Now, see, that also means that sometimes you're going to go through this random encounter, but it's not necessarily going to result in a fight. So it may not take resources, other than, I suppose, more time. Treasure. There's a 50% chance that a randomly encountered creature or group of creatures has no treasure. So that's also a downside of going through a random encounter, is that there's a 50% chance that you're not even going to get treasure from it. That you're going to expend resources and not get treasure. Good morning, David62. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Traps. Traps add peril and surprise to crawling. Characters typically get to make a relevant check to avoid a trap's effect. A tell. Most traps should have a hint or a tell. Be careful not to make traps too frequent, or the game pace will suffer. Finding. Characters who search a specific area or object for a trap automatically find it. Disabling. Thieves and characters who are trained in tinkering can describe how they are able to disable or circumvent a trap. If the character has enough time and uses a reasonable method, the character succeeds. If there is time pressure or the trap requires a great deal of skill to deactivate, the GM might call for a check. So we've got D12 different types of traps here. What type of trap, how it's triggered, and then what type of damage or effect it has. The magic glyph, that's going to kill people. Well, hey, any of these could. I mean, we're talking about not a lot of hit points anyway. You could be dead at any time. Hazards. Hazards add passive danger to the adventuring environment. There's often no way to defeat or permanently disable them. Unlike traps, most hazards are obvious from the start. Movement restrictions. Some hazards inhibit or prevent movement, such as quicksand pools or slippery ice. Hazards can even fully entrap characters. Damage. Some hazards deal ongoing damage, such as toxic spores or acid rain. Weakening. Certain hazards weaken or hamper the characters. They could include anti-magic zones or vapors that sap physical strength. Combining. The most insidious hazards combine one or more of these types into a single threat. So what are our hazards? Things like quicksand, caltrops, loose debris, tar field, grasping vines, steep inclines, slippery ice. Doing different kinds of damage. Okay, something happens. Oh, so this is a big table. It's a D100. D100, something happens. Like, I guess this is just to shake things up. A cowled stranger in a black cloak approaches you. You are filled with a strong sense of dread and danger. A green glowing meteor streaks through the sky. You spot a trail of tiny silver coins leading around a bend. Uh-oh. An old woman points to you and says, "There they are." A violent windy storm kicks up without warning. Rumors. D100. A warband of orcs has taken over an abandoned keep. Fire will not light or burn within sight of the lion fountain. The goblin spelunkers found an underground cathedral. A monstrosity called the Oracle lurks beneath the university. Ruins encounters. A legless suit of animated armor pulls itself along the floor. A single perfect rose grows up between the flagstones. A wounded NPC staggers up to the PCs and begs them for help. 3d4 goblin scavengers barter and trade for odd trinkets. Then we get into monsters. Quicksand. Sable Phoenix says, quicksand and caltrops in one hazard? Brilliant. Hey, Robert. Hey, Robert. Good to see you. Andrew says, random encounters for me also add color, giving players a chance to play in character, maybe sometimes funny or dramatic that is low stakes. I hope to make it a fun experience. I experienced explosive ruins this morning. Joseph Carter says, I love that this game assumes that someone with skill and no time pressure just succeeds at disarming a trap. If you have the time, you will find a way. We talked about that quite a bit, that the time pressure but time pressure should be there a lot. It talks about time being so important, but I agree that if you're not, I was talking about that when we were doing RPG design. If you're not under any kind of time pressure and you're trying to accomplish something, chances are you should just succeed if you are good at it. Hello, Michael. Michael Pinkston says, everything I've seen I like in Shadowdark. Robert says, lots of story playing hooks there too. Likewise, picking a lock or other thief skills. So, monster attributes. Armor class. Just like characters, monsters have an AC that denotes how difficult it is to harm them. Hit points. Calculate a monster's hit points by rolling a number of d8s per monster level and adding its con modifier, minimum 1. You can also use the average total listed. Attacks. Most monsters can make one attack per turn, but some can make more. Attack bonuses and damages are listed for each. Movement. Monsters can typically move near each turn. Move near. That's our distance. I think I would format that differently or say that differently. May move near each turn, but some can move other distances. If a monster has a special mode of movement, such as flying or swimming, it is noted after the distance. Stat modifiers. Monsters have modifiers listed for strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Alignment. All monsters have a typical alignment for their species. Individual monsters might have a different alignment. Spell casting. Treat monster spell casting the same way as character spell casting. For a natural 1 on int or charisma, roll on the wizard mishap table. If a natural 1 on the wizard spell incurs penance, a natural 1 on a wisdom spell incurs penance. The tier is the spellcasting DC -10. The tier of the spell is the spellcasting DC -10. Yeah. Dark adapted. All non-humanoid monsters are dark adapted. Their powerful essences allow them to ignore the penalties of total darkness. Blinding or deafening a monster still hinders it. So we've got things like, here is, Acolyte, a religious trainee who knows basic rites and rituals. So our stat block here is AC 12, HP 4, attack 1 with a mace, or 1 spell plus 2. So I guess our spell here is Healing Touch. Move near. That's Strength, Dex, Con, Wisdom, Charisma. What is AL? Level 1? What is AL? Oh, alignment. Alignment lawful. Bandits, HP 4, AC 13, leather and shield with a club or a short bow. Deal an extra die of damage when undetected. Large bats. Beastmen. Level 1. A cave creeper is level 4. So HP 18. So that's a lot, but it's not crazy. Mike says, trading trinkets with goblins. How many teeth? Sable Phoenix says, I do that in my game, so there's no pressure. You can spend 1 to 10 minutes on a task. You can just take 20 on the roll. Boar's Crocodile. Here is Cultist. So a Cultist is level 2. A cloaked, wide-eyed zealot chanting in guttural prayers to a dark god. Wearing mail and a shield. AC 14. HP 9. I like that. I like our... Oh, no. Dragon. The Swamp Dragon. See, the Swamp Dragon has 58 hit points. But that's still... This is a level 12 creature? Oh, level 12 creature. So Swamp Dragon is AC 16. HP 58. So you're going to have to hack at it. But it is a dragon. I like... it seems like I like the way that hit points are going. I'm not for inflationary hit points. But this appears to keep things under control. It gets 3 attacks, rending +8 or smog breath. 3 rend +8 or 1 smog. I guess that's 3 rending attacks or a smog breath. Fills a near-sized cube extending from the dragon. DC 15 con or DC 15 con or 2d10 damage and blinding for 1 round. That's a swamp dragon. We do have the gelatinous cube. Engulf. DC strength or trapped inside the cube. Touch attack automatically engulfs targets each round. DC 12 strength on a turn to escape. Failed checks if paralyzed. Rubbery. Half damage. Oh, yeah. So here we do have, we were talking about this, like an implied type of damage, which wasn't specifically listed in the player's guide. But we do have that, for instance, the gelatinous cube takes half damage from stabbing weapons. So there is some type of damage type implied or implicit in the game. Ghost Goblin. Here's our Goblin. AC 11, HP 5. Keen senses, can't be surprised. Deep Gnome, Golem. Great, lots of monsters and NPCs. Knight. So here's a Knight. This is a level 3 character. 17, AC 17. Plate and shield. 14 HP. Attack 2. Bastard sword +3. 3 times a day, advantage on a roll made in service of the Knight's Order. Ogre. Here is an orc. What's the classic orc like? A tusk, tall humanoid with gray skin and pointed ears. AC 15, wearing mail and having a shield. Hit points 4. So how many hit points did the goblin have? The goblin was hit points 5. So the orc down here is HP 4, attacking with a great axe +2. for 1d8. Level 1, once a day, immune to morale checks, plus rages once per day, immune to morale checks, and plus 1d4 damage for 3 rounds. Rust monster. Metal that touches the rust monster is destroyed on a d6 roll of 1 to 3. An armed foot soldier trained in the ways of battlefield combat, wearing mail plus a shield, HP 10, longsword, or crossbow. Trolls. Yep, trolls. I was wondering, do trolls regenerate? Yep, regenerates 2d6 HP on its turn unless its wounds are cauterized with fire or acid. Let's see. Life drain. So I was wondering if we were going to have level drain over here with the white. A pale armored undead warrior with sinister intelligence. Greater undead. Immune to morale checks. Only damaged by silver or magical sources. Life drain. 1d4 con damage. Death if reduced to 0 con. Treasure. Oh, we have a little story here. We'll go over that, though. Treasure overview. Treasure seemed important. Orcs are harder to survive fighting, but slightly easier to kill than goblins. Treasure. Treasure is the driving force behind character advancement. Claiming treasure grants the characters XP and gives them valuable resources. Wandering monsters have only a 50% chance of carrying treasure. They are poor sources of XP and valuables. That also comes from, that's an old school thing too, right? That sometimes random monsters didn't give XP either. So that's just kind of carrying over here. They have a 50% chance of not carrying it. So that's another reason you don't necessarily want to go through random encounters. Fleeting. Carousing allows PCs to gain XP fast, but they'll soon need to go adventuring again to replenish their empty pockets. So we got to go to the RPG core book for that, which we don't have. Treasure tables. You can use treasure tables to randomly determine what loot a monster is carrying. The table the monster uses corresponds to its level. For example, a level 2 monster uses the treasure 0 to 3 table. Shadowdark RPG core has tables for higher level monsters. Unguarded. The GM can randomly generate unguarded treasure by rolling on the treasure table that matches the discovering character's level. For instance, a 6th level wizard finds a treasure chest. The wizard rolls on treasure 4 to 6 to determine what's inside. Dealing with loot. Treasure typically occupies 1 gear slot. Coins occupy 1 slot per 100, but the GM might determine otherwise. Characters can sell most treasure based on its material value, but they may need to find a curio collector to offload strange or obscure items. Magic item values. Is this going to tell me like how many slots, if you've got a donkey or a mule or a horse, how many slots that donkey, mule, or horse can carry? Because I was looking at Knave, and I noticed that Knave did not tell you that, because you've got a certain amount of slots which you're supposed to be managing, which I like because I'm for slot-based inventory and encumbrance. Eventually, especially if you're going to get loot out, people frequently talk about that on here, that if you find a bunch of loot, well, one thing you got to do is you got to get it home somehow. You only have so many slots. You may need some type of horse, mule, or other type of pack animal. But that Knave, now maybe Knave 2.0, maybe Knave version 2 does, but that wasn't telling me how many extra slots, if I have a mule or something like that, I've got. So that would also be important here, I would think. We're dealing with slot-based inventory. Even for longer expeditions and you need to carry more food, you may want to take a mule with you. So magic item values. Magic items can rarely be bought or sold. In such cases, weak magic items are worth 1d6 times 100 GP. Powerful ones, if not priceless, are worth 2d6 times 100 gold coins. So here's our treasure for level 0 to 3. Oh, it's a D100 roll. Okay, so we've got lots of different options here for treasure. Things like a dull dagger, 2 empty glass vials, 10 gold pieces in a moldy wooden box, scuffed heavy shield, pair of elf-forged short swords, Pair of silvered daggers, 10 gold coins each. Half-finished suit of chainmail. Silver and gold circlet. Cracked emerald. Potion of invisibility. Magic wand, 2nd tier spell. Bag of holding. +1 magic weapon. Magic item attributes. Qualities. Magic items can have some or all of the following qualities. Bonus. Magic armor and weapons can have a bonus from 0 to +3. Armor with a bonus adds that amount to its AC it grants. A weapon with a bonus adds that amount to its attack and damage rolls. +0 items are the most frequent, and +3 items are the most rare. So if you've got a magic armor bonus of +0, I guess it could still have some other benefit. A supernatural benefit gifted to the item's wielder. Most magic items have at least one benefit. So I guess that's why you could have a 0. So maybe it doesn't add anything to you, but it still gives you some kind of minor benefit. Joseph says, you get the XP for getting treasure. Surviving and carrying it out, good luck. Yeah, so I guess that's a good point. So do you have to get it out in order to get the XP? Seems like no. You just discover it and you get the XP. So the XP you can take with you. But maybe not all the treasure. Oh, Mike says, don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, if you are here, please do hit the like and subscribe and check out the Ravenkeep Discord server for ongoing conversations regarding these dark encounters and other game systems. Yes, thank you so much, Mike. Everybody, yes, if you are here and maybe the algorithm has brought you here or you're here from some other place taking a look at Shadowdark, please do remember to like and subscribe. It'd be great to have you. I'm here every morning on the Morning Grind, 9:30 a.m. Central. So curse is a negative benefit bestowed on the item's wielder. Some magic items have a curse. Personality. A few magic items are conscious and have personalities that include virtues, flaws, and a trait and alignment. Magic items with personalities can communicate telepathically with their wielders. So this is magic item idea generator. Very Diablo in style. I like it. So like, no, I don't have my box of dice sitting right here. The Vicious Scroll of the Archmage, or the Whispering Axe of Blood. Consumables. A creature must drink an entire potion or use an entire consumable item to gain its effects. The user decides the order in which the effects take place on a consumable item. Now we have a list of magic items, like the Bag of Holding, Bracers of Defense, Boots of the Cat, Brack's Cube of Perfection, a tiny cube with paintings of goblins on each face, each one depicting a transcendence in a physical or mental trait. Roll the cube by rolling d6. Your corresponding stat permanently increases to 18. Wow. But after being rolled, Brack's Cube of Perfection teleports to a random location in the multiverse. Cloak of Elvenkind, also very classic magic items here. Your checks to hide are always easy. Once per day, you can become invisible for 5 rounds. The invisibility ends if you attack or cast a spell. Potion of Healing. So we got a glass bottle with a fizzy lemon vanilla liquid inside. Benefit. The imbiber of this potion regains hit points based on its level. 1 to 3, d6. 4 to 6, 2d8. 7 to 9, 3d10, and 10 plus 4d12. So each potion has a level. Or each potion of healing has its own level. Sword of the Ancients. A chipped and rusting blade with an old leather grip. +2 longsword. The sword is unbreakable and can carve through any material. The owner can summon the sword to their hand if it's on the same plane. And then, okay, well, actually, this is probably a good place to wrap up because we've been going for about an hour here anyway. So here we have The Lost Citadel of the Scarlet Minotaur, a 1st through 3rd level adventure for Shadowdark RPG. So there, that ends right there. So that's probably a good place to stop. That took us just about an hour to go through. Joseph says, Elf Cloak, the forthcoming Ranger class, is an Aragorn type starting adventures flat broke. Fathered and the Gray Mouser Conan. Lots of love for classic fantasy here. Yes, it does seem like it. So that was a stretch goal or something that we're going to get a ranger class because there's only 4 classes. Not that bothers me, but I think adding in the ranger would be nice. So that sounds fun. All right, well, everybody, this is Friday, so I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the day. I'm not sure we'll be looking at tomorrow. I've got a major list. Like I said, I want to look at that cyclic dungeon generator. I've got all of these He-Man boxes, this He-Man board game to unbox. We got to see what Kobold Press has put out for its new Black Flag. We did take a look at hardcore mode, so that one is off the list. I've got the Kobold's Guide to Dungeon Building. So the Guide to Hell, the Warriors of Heaven. I want to look at the Deathbringer RPG. Knave is supposed to be on here. And Karn. So there are a lot of topics. I'll just come up with something. Might be Knave tomorrow. Might want to look at Knave tomorrow because I've been looking at that quite a bit and we haven't looked at it online. So maybe we'll do that one. Oh, hello, Arun. Welcome, everybody. If she's over on the Positive Fandom channel, and I've been watching her, she's been going deep in depth of the new Harry Potter game, playing that quite often. So, all right, everybody, we are out of here. I will see everybody there. I might not be doing a live stream tonight. I got to get some assets made so I can start streaming the board games again and also doing some RPGs, but I don't have my assets ready yet. So, all right, everybody. All right, everybody. Have fun, be creative, and also productive for the rest of the day. See you later. See you in